I was trying to see what time it was, and it's wrong.
Yo, that nigga hit the wrong one.
Yo, what's good? Hey, welcome to New Millennial Culture Podcast. It is going down tonight. I am one of your hosts, Marcel Rivers 21.
I am King 8.
I'm just out.
And Mr. Herd Alert himself will be here in just a little bit. Tonight, we're going to be discussing mental health in the Black community. We done it in the first season. Now we're doing a part 2 with a therapist tonight. Go give us some of those coping skills and advice that Black men need. So we're going to kick it straight off, man. We're going to kick it off. Big Hurt Sports, you ready?
Yeah, we waiting on you.
Heard you muted.
That boy tuned in.
Oh, they have me muted. I try to make a great y'all some hate, but
You back muted, Hurt.
okay, stop muting me. Whoever's doing that.
I didn't do it.
Now look, Big Hurt Sports. We're gonna talk about let's bring up first and foremost. I'm gonna bring up JJ Watt.
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I know where he need to come.
I really hope JJ Watt comes to
Breaking
Cleveland.
news.
He got to come to Cleveland.
He coming to Cleveland.
He don't want to lose no more, man. Stop it.
Now, I really hope he does not hurt. That'd be the worst thing he could do. No, sir.
Niggas always hating.
Wow. He won't lose. Hey, if he come to Cleveland, he will not lose. If our defense is healthy, win the Super Bowl, period.
Yeah, all right.
What? Listen,
That's a bold statement to make.
Yeah. If our people forget
And it's
that
back.
people forget that the only people that were healthy, and they wasn't even healthy, we had lost Olivia Vernon in the first in the last game of the season, and our linebackers and DBs were hurt. Like, people forget that. And that was our weakest point of our defense because they was all backups. So just imagine if we had all of our starters. It would have been a different story.
You know what's so crazy? Everybody loves to talk about injuries whenever it does not pertain to the Steelers. Ain't that some shit? Because we had just as many and more long-term injuries than y'all this season. This season. We lost Devin Bush
Not in the
early
playoffs.
in the season.
Not in the playoffs, y'all didn't.
Hey, Jerry, don't bring up all the shit
What?
about the Steelers, bro.
Not in the playoffs.
We lost them way before the playoffs. We were down like 6 starters before we were halfway through the season. But nobody want to talk about that.
Cool. We were down 3 starters
Nobody-
before the season even happened. They were going the entire season.
Nobody want to talk about that though. So y'all couldn't miss them. Y'all never had them to begin with.
Yes, we could miss them because they were starters last year.
But they ain't starting the whole season, so everyone knew
Man,
who was the next man up.
Big difference. It's a big difference when the backup starts and when your starter starts.
I mean, I
I
get
don't
that,
care what
but
position or how long.
I get that, but it's also a big difference whenever you the number 1 team in the league and everybody gunning for you and you steady losing players. Tell me I'm lying.
Hey, y'all lost. We beat y'all. So that's all I'm gonna say.
That's cute. I just wanted to make that statement. Go ahead.
JJ Watt is considering Cleveland, of course, Pittsburgh, Green Bay to go back home, and Tampa Bay. Those are the teams that I've heard he is interested in going to.
Amen.
Yeah. I hope he don't go to Tampa Bay because they definitely gonna repeat if you go to Tampa Bay. But they also might lose Shaq Barrett, so kind of be a replacement, kind of. But if they don't lose Shaq Barrett and they also gain JJ, that'll be something. Oh God, I don't count that the week 17 was it?
Y'all count all
I don't-
types of bullshit. That's why we just gotta let y'all have y'all's
I don't,
moment.
I don't even really think about the week 17 game no more.
That's
Because the playoff one is it hurt so much more for y'all.
cool. It didn't.
Like
It didn't.
It did. Don't lie. Don't front for the camera.
After
That's
the
okay.
first play, you knew what it was. I was asleep before halftime. I said, "Yep." Turned it right off and went to bed. I can't even hold you. I woke up and looked at it. I said, "They scored points." I said, "I'm surprised they didn't just call it a game, throw the towel in like they're supposed to do for Apollo Creed." Like I was like, "Yeah, that's it." It wasn't no
I got
point.
my pillow.
Like it wasn't no point in even trying to fight back on that
I
one. Let
would
them
have.
have it.
Yeah, it's a wrap. 28.
Let them have it. Let them have it. It wasn't nothing.
I see you, Sal.
Yeah. Mr. Dunbar, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm blessed for these lights to be on and have some water. Because this week it's been rough. But we'll talk about that in a second.
Facts.
All right, so JJ, hopefully he come to Cleveland, but we'll see. Houston, y'all, I'm going to double down. I'm going to say this one more time. Cleveland, make the trade. Baker and OBJ to Houston for Deshaun Watson. Make the trade. Had to come. Yeah. Yeah, it's real, man. It's real
Hey,
down
it's real
here.
down
y'all.
there.
That's real.
You know, you. Hey, we fuck with you, man. I see you.
We got to get
Shout
you
out to the Rams.
Yeah, it's real. Hey, we appreciate you. Yeah. Oh, boy. Here we go. All right. So next thing I'm just going to quickly discuss is Wentz. The Wentz trade today, him being traded to the Colts. I don't believe it was a good trade, but I believe that was the best they were going to get for him because everyone in the league knew they had to get rid of Wentz. So for them to get 2 draft picks, which actually was good because everybody could have just waited and said, "We just gonna wait till y'all release him and get him for free."
Yeah.
So
And the fact that one of
they
those
actually-
is conditional, that means a lot too, because you sending them to a decent team that just needs a quarterback.
Yeah.
So their defense is already set.
Exactly.
I mean, you still got Naheem Hines, T.Y. Hilton, Paris Campbell. You got some people around him. So as long as the line will keep him safe, that conditional is going to turn into a lottery ticket.
first round.
But we also got to think about the Eagles, man. So what they gonna do about a backup quarterback?
They'll find somebody.
Like who? Who would be a good backup
They-
for the Eagles?
I don't know. They're probably gonna draft somebody. To be honest,
I was going to say, get him from the draft or free agency. Someone's going to get let go. Someone, I mean, I hate to say it, but the Steelers have like 5
Yeah,
backup quarterbacks.
they'll find
Like
somebody.
someone's not gonna be there. Like someone's gonna drop a quarterback and they'll find somebody.
Yeah, they'll find somebody. I'm not too worried about them. Right.
Went over there.
So that's all. I'm gonna check out the sports day tomorrow morning. I have a couple of things like Tim Tebow and injuries and all that and other trade rumors. So I have some things about that on the post tomorrow morning.
Sounds good.
Wow.
You know what?
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your
Yeah, I
comments.
don't know if y'all see my face the whole time. Like,
Yeah. Thank you, Barry Bean. Make sure you share our page and let everybody know that all lives matter. Definitely make sure you subscribe to all pages. Thank you, sir.
Big facts. You know what? I see what's going on here, and I'm not gonna fall for it because I feel like they trying to come at me. Cause Stump trying, and I'm gonna let him have his moment.
Let's see.
He not gonna get a
Wow.
rise out of me. He not gonna get a rise out of me. It's cool. That's all good.
You know, that statement's not too far fetched. I mean,
Okay.
what is he gonna do about his contract? What are y'all gonna do?
He said he gonna take a pay cut. We'll see what happens, but he's not worried about the money.
Okay.
You talking about the rape
we gonna
money
see.
or the regular money?
It's definitely the regular money. I feel like
I said raping.
Right, that's why I said it's definitely the regular money. It's not the other one. We're not even gonna talk about that.
You ain't hearing me.
No,
The rape.
I heard what you're saying.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
skipping past that. Like it ain't that. We're gonna take the ladder. We're gonna take the ladder.
He
I
not
thought I
trying
was
to
gonna
hear.
start spelling it out. R-A-P.
No, but see, here's the thing though. Me personally, he needs to just he needs to leave. He needs to retire. And that's coming from a diehard Steelers fan. He can let it go. Like it's okay. We already have to rebuild. Like it's no point. Like just stay on as a coach or something. Like you don't got to keep on. You know what I'm saying? Because you're getting up there. You're not.
He's stealing money.
I wouldn't say stealing because he's gonna take a price cut, but
Man,
I mean,
he can't throw past 15, 20 yards.
I mean, so you know, it is what it is. But we're gonna go ahead and move into a couple of these hip hop updates in the news.
Yes, sir.
So first and very foremost, happy birthday to Dr. Dre. My guy is 56.
Oh,
he old, but he still look good for old dude, man. He look like mid 40s low key. So he taking care of himself, you know. So power to him. Second, Diddy announces the Crew League basketball tournament, which is basically going to be a show where hip hop stars and their crews compete in a basketball tournament. I can't wait to see this.
Okay, I'm interested. Let's go.
Oh,
I can't
God.
wait to see this. This
All the
should be
niggas
something
think they
good.
Hoopers.
Man, listen, and some
So
are
which
about
crews do you see? Like 50 Cent crew,
no.
Snoop Dogg crew.
God.
I'm seeing crews like Quavo. Quavo definitely should have a crew.
Quavo probably
yeah.
gonna look on everybody.
Drake should have a crew.
No, he gonna be playing.
2 Chainz should have a crew. Who else?
Chris Brown.
Chris Brown should definitely.
Chris Brown gonna dunk on somebody.
Yeah.
So
Like it's definitely quite a few
J. Cole.
that should
Don't
have a
sleep
crew.
on Cameron.
that's almost similar like when they had the celebrity basketball
J.
back
Cole.
on MTV back in the day.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm looking forward to that. And I mean, it's if it's Diddy in it, you know it's gonna have a weird twist somewhere. So I'm just
Do you
waiting.
think it's gonna be on Revolt TV?
I would hope that it's not just there. I would really like for it to be a little bit more widespread.
Right.
But oh, here comes Stump. Stump's stirring the pot today, y'all.
Stump is on flag. Hey.
They gonna be on.
Oh Lord, you know he
That boy,
on that trash,
he
but
on Trigger Dash.
ain't nothing wrong with it, man. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I think it's gonna be a really a really good show, a different change of pace from what we've been seeing. So as long as he has his haircut.
Oh man, y'all wild
Oh,
tonight.
yeah, literally. Next up, Cardi B, number 2 on the billboards for Up. The song is low key catchy, if you ask me. It's really redundant and I hate to say it, but it's stupid girl rap, just like most of Cardi B's songs. But the beat hard, if you ask me. So, congrats to Cardi. She always seems to find a hit somewhere. I don't know how, but she do. Last but not least, I don't know if y'all watched it or not, but if y'all didn't, I need y'all to go watch Rick Ross's Tiny Desk home performance. Listen, Rick. Not attacking. No attacks. I promise. No attacks. But Rick Ross's Tiny Desk home performance. Rick Ross probably has one of the best voices to a band I've heard in a while. Biased, yes, but nonetheless, this is a fact. So I definitely need y'all to go ahead and check that out. It was wonderful. I will use that as a wonderful segue into our album of the week. This week, I did choose Kid Cudi's album, Man on the Moon 3, The Chosen. If y'all are not hip to all of Kid Cudi's work by now, it's definitely going to be a good one to just kind of inaugurate yourself with and then do your homework going back. For those that are Kid Cudi fans, it's everything you expected and possibly a little bit more, if you ask me. My favorite songs on the album, of course, Show Out, because y'all know I'm a Pop Smoke fan myself. So that works. On top of that, I also like September 16th. Those are probably my favorite too. Oh, there we go with the artwork. So that's the album that I had to choose this week. Yes, Cleveland boy, 216.
Yes, sir. The land.
Y'all do make some good things. Y'all do make some good things. Sports teams aren't always the best, but y'all definitely have music for sure. There's no debate on that. This is a Boondocks do-rag. So if I take the headphones off, you can see it's a Boondocks do-rag. So you got
He
Riley.
From Shaker, be Pacific.
My bad, Cleveland folk. I don't know all of that. You know what I'm saying? I just know that everything that's, what is that? Cuyahoga County? Is that what it is?
Yeah, when we outside of Cuyahoga County, we claim the whole county, because it's everybody don't know Shaker Heights, Warrensville, Garfield, all that.
None of that. I for sure don't. I just know it's all one, But that's really all that I have. I feel like this would be a great segue into Just Al. And of course, he's got his sneakers. Whenever, unless he gonna pause on me. Yep, it's gonna happen. Here come the serious face. Look at him.
Can y'all hear me?
He said the serious face.
No, you're not gonna talk.
I'm listen. This shit moving slow. It's messing up. It's on me. I see now. That's cool. Thank you. But that shit definitely transitioned terribly on my end. I don't know however it went, but everybody else. But on my end, it went terribly. So
it's gonna be all right, man.
But of course, shoe of the week. Oh my god.
Stump, I told you we got you. I told you we got you, Stump.
Enough said.
Yes, sir.
This is by far my favorite silhouette. Retro number 6. 1991. I mean, like, there's so much can be talked about on this shoe. This is a beauty right here. Straight beauty. I'm definitely loving the fact that this year they came back with the Nike Air on the back. I mean, definitely give it that original feel. It just dropped. You know what I'm saying, for Valentine's Day weekend. So unfortunately, mine is in the mail, but I did get them, of course. I'll show them again next week. That's how beautiful they is. Or yeah, they pretty amazing. They definitely amazing. That gum bottom, that ice bottom on there. Oh my god. Oh my god. I wanna
Yes, sir.
minimize me and maximize the shoe. Like
I mean, we really
I'm
should
telling
because
you,
you
them things.
ugly. We really should because it's the
Hey,
shoe's nice. Al, you ugly, so it makes sense.
Oh wow.
hey, that's okay. Blame my parents.
I know I'm not gonna blame. I'm not gonna blame the parents. I'm not gonna blame them. They fine. The parents is cool. I just that's all. But yeah, I will chime
uh
in, man. I
speaking
definitely let a car mines. Go
speaking
ahead.
on that shoe and speaking
Hmm.
on Jordan, Jordan birthday was yesterday. So shout out
Yes,
to
it was.
Jordan. You know, cause
That's a
I
fact.
gotta shout him out. I support the nigga so much. Shit. So shout out to Jordan.
And yesterday, if y'all follow our Instagram and everything, y'all seen the post. Yesterday was Huey P. Newton's birthday as well.
Yes, it was.
Definitely.
Black history. Hence the do rag.
He not doing what Jordan doing though. Just
He's not.
just
Oh, so he's not alive, but we're gonna
That's
get into that later.
oh man. All right, man. Look. Yeah, what you got to say, man?
you muted, Sal.
Y'all already know I got something to say. It's been a long week for everybody. If you live Chicago, somewhere in Ohio, down south, Nashville, Memphis, if you're down there in Houston or Texas overall, man, it's been a long week with the weather. Definitely been tough. I know here in Nashville, we've been definitely dealing with snow, unusual snow, being getting quite a bit of inches of snow and people sliding and accidents and flipping and boats disappearing in the water. It's been crazy down here.
Yeah, let me go.
Texas, they've been going through some hard times with no lights, no water. People switching from one house for electric, then the next house doesn't have it. It's been
Facts.
some straight bullshit, and it's just unfortunate what y'all got to go through down there in Houston. Hopefully they get it together. It looks like y'all have your water together tomorrow. But for y'all to have to boil some water is crazy. Now, I gotta
Yeah.
keep it 100. I gotta throw it out there though. For you dumbasses that was grilling in y'all house to stay warm, that's some stupid ass shit. Goddamn it! At least build you a goddamn igloo when it snowed the first night. Then grill out there and do some shit. I don't know, but you taking the goddamn grill in your house and then it caught on fire. I think that's some stupid ass shit. I ain't gonna lie. Like I can't give no credit. I can't give benefit of the doubt. I can't give none of that shit. And then you go put some charcoal in your fireplace. That hey, I ain't gonna lie. They gotta be some niggas ain't doing that shit. I'm gonna just be going on it. Like that gotta be some some hillbilly bunky shit. But I did see a cowboy on the video. He had some skis on, and somebody was driving really fast, and the motherfucker was skiing on the ranch. I thought that was some stupid ass shit, but you ain't gonna see no niggas doing that neither. But
That's a redneck
yeah.
vacation.
But mentally, man, I think overall this country is definitely going through some mental things going on. Just from last year, we started the pandemic, and then cities like Nashville, they had the hurricane. I mean, the tornado. And then you turn around and you got to deal with these issues right now with the storms and people being stuck and families having to figure out what to do to feed their child because there's no food in the grocery stores. I think just mentally, everybody is just going through things. I think overall for the Black community, we already deal with enough as far as surviving, make sure that we have funds, make sure we can pay bills, particularly with the Black man in the household. So today, we definitely going to get into that discussion. We brought on a good friend of ours that is a therapist. Her name is Beatrice, and yeah, we about to bring her on. Let's get it.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
Welcome.
How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming out today. So
Yeah.
tell us about yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Well, like Marcel said, my name is Beatrice. I'm a therapist. I'm licensed to practice in the state of Texas, Arkansas, and now Illinois. And I work in private practice. I work for myself. I've been practicing as a therapist for a while now, and I love it. I work only with adults. And so, yeah, I love the work that I do. I'm a trauma-based therapist, and most of my clients come to me because they are wanting to work through and find they want to step outside of toxic cycles in their relationships with other people, with themselves, even in their work environment. So, yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Nice. That's
Well, tell us a little bit more about. You said that your trauma. What experiences do you see within the Black community?
As it relates to trauma,
Yes.
right now, racial trauma is a big thing, right? I think that we can probably all surmise that racial trauma is a huge issue right now that I think a lot of Black women are dealing with. My Black men are not really talking about racial trauma when they're coming to therapy, but I will say that will be the first thing. The second thing is many of my clients are working through traumas from their childhood. So a lot of my clients, I do a lot of family of origin healing work, which essentially is helping people work through blocks, you know, strongholds, all kind of stuff that they have from the way that they were brought up, the way that they were raised. So the trauma could be either they were molested, they were raped, there was physical abuse, there was emotional neglect, there was just even verbal abuse, right? So those are the different things that the main forms of trauma that I've been dealing with in my practice. Either it's racial trauma or my clients specifically come to me to resolve family of origin issues. Yep.
So, do you think? Is there any particular reason why you think Black men haven't, opened up about it or discussed it?
Haven't discussed what, trauma or just
Overall, like the racial, the events that's going on.
I think in large part, and I can just speak for the Black men that I have dealt with in my practice, they are in a sense numb to it, right? It's just kind of like we've been dealing with this for forever, right? Everybody else is up in arms about it, but I think it's just a level of not acceptance, but just I think that a lot of Black men are just numb to it, and Black men have learned how to exist in a world that to Black women or even to I think to the rest of the world we're realizing is very hostile, right? And so I think it's just kind of like well, I guess now y'all aware, but this been my reality. I've been getting pulled over, I've been getting feeling racially profiled and feeling concerned about the fact that I'm tall in stature, I'm big, I'm a husky guy, and people tend to be intimidated by that. So I think that where the country is, Black men have been for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to that.
those is
I've
facts.
I've had certain jobs. I did the ADT, door to door sales.
Yeah.
That didn't last long at all
Mm.
because I was in neighborhoods where we weren't in those neighborhoods. Let me say that. And I've gotten the police calling me a couple times. Somebody almost let their dog loose on me. And I literally had a security shirt on, the ADT shirt on, with my supervisor, who is of another race, and y'all can guess what race. And
Right.
it still didn't matter.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
slammed the door on me. Somebody tried to close their garage on me. It was bad.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not.
You're an ugly dude, man. I would close it on
Oh
your
wow.
ass too.
I was about to say, yeah, I don't know, man. The garage, I'd have definitely hit the button a couple of times on you.
That's all right. Y'all just hating, but that's all right.
Yeah, trauma is something that I think as Black men we don't acknowledge a lot, but we definitely have it. It's just a natural thing for us to just deal with on a daily. I know we discussed it in our season 1 episode on Black men and mental health, and we talked about how we go about our daily life because we feel like we already deal with enough pressure on us daily. We already deal with expectations of our own women that they have for us. We have to deal with the school system. Most of the teachers are white or non-black, so we have to deal with them. We have to deal with probation. That's typically not our color. We deal with judges that doesn't look like us. We deal with the media that always label us as thugs. We have people that look at us because if we sag, then we're just wrong. We got the guy down in Florida who's teaching his kids how to use guns properly, but because he has tattoos on his body, he's looked at as a gang member. It's like everything that we do in society, we're always a target of some sort. And it doesn't matter if it's with our women, non-women. It's just we deal with so much that our lifestyle, we just like, fuck it. We just gonna deal with it. And it's just like, but at some point, for us to avoid depression and dealing with psychosis, I guess that's what they call it, like that first stage of psychosis. Like, how do we really avoid that? How do we start acknowledging those emotions?
Woo, that Marcel, that's a loaded question right there, but it's a good one because I'm thinking of so many. I'm seeing in my mind just the faces of Black men that I've counseled over the years, and honestly, what has brought men to my office in particular has either been they have been mandated by their work, their family has completely fallen apart, which sometimes that looks like the wife leaving, or kids no longer talking to them. Or even just being pushed by family members to really get some help and support. And so, let me answer the question this way. I think there's a few layers to that question. So I think with Black men addressing their mental health or even just their feelings in general, I think it starts with just asking yourself, like, what is going on with me? What is going on with me? And that's a question that a lot of people, or women too, struggle with answering that, right? It's asking what is going on with me and trying to put words to that. Because usually what I find is that my Black men struggle with being able to put words to their experience. Black men, not even just Black men, even white men have a great way of being able to intellectualize their feelings and talk they talk real good, talk you in a freaking circle, and not have talked about anything of substance when it comes to their feelings or what's really going on, what's really the heart of the matter. And so that's where I would say start, is just asking yourself, what is going on for me? Being curious about why you're doing what you're doing, right? Even asking yourself questions like, when, let's say, if you're talking to your wife or your girlfriend or even the kids and you respond in a way that comes off as a negative to other people, you can ask yourself, okay, when they said this to me, what did that do in me? How did that make me feel? Where did I feel that in my body? Right? Some people may say my heart started racing, or they may say my stomach just got into knots, or I felt really shaky all over my body, right? Like, that's anxiety. But at least trying to put words to it so that if you decide to meet with a therapist, or even if you talk to somebody that has awareness about mental health, they can help you put words to your experience, right? Like, I had one client that was like, I just don't feel right. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, do you need an ambulance? Like, what do you mean? And all he could say is, I just don't feel right. I don't feel right in my body. I don't feel good. And he was suffering with severe anxiety. But he would have gotten overlooked even if he went to I remember him going to the ER and they were just like, nothing's wrong with you, right? Like, because he could not put words to how he was feeling. Yeah, so I hope that answered your question.
Oh, it's like a lot of work to me. I don't got that kind of time.
You know what? Here's the thing, and a lot of people are shocked when they hear me say this, but honestly, when men do therapy, I see them go like this. Quick. Men, it's like once y'all get it in your head and you can see it and you can understand it because you all are so visual, it's like once you can conceptualize what the problem is, y'all are problem solvers. That's built in y'all. And so it's like once you can understand yourself, you know what to do with it. Because other than that, I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of Black men end up struggling with high functioning depression, right? You be depressed, but you working, you mentoring, you playing basketball. I mean, you literally doing all these things all the while still feeling depressed, right? So, yeah. I don't want to talk in circles now, but yeah, I do notice that men, once they get it and they can understand themselves, they know what to do with it. And y'all move on it. Y'all be like, okay, now I know what to do. Okay, I'm moving.
We got a
So
couple comments on here. One says the Black community is the most traumatized community in the Western world. And then you have another one that says, with all the trauma we have, we are still the strongest.
absolutely,
That's a
absolutely,
fact.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of trauma in our community. I think even looking at, you know,
So we are the strongest. I I don't. I feel like
go ahead. Is there a delay?
For
Might
him, it
be.
might
I
be.
think so.
Hold
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Wow.
until he come back.
yeah.
So
I
there you
guess
go.
it was. I started, but then I heard you talk, so I let you keep going, whatever. But
It's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's frozen. So we just move forward for a second.
Okay.
I heard, or Jeremy, y'all got any questions?
What is the biggest, I would say, struggle, or what is the biggest roadblock for men that you see that's starting out in therapy?
Mm. I think for the, and I can just speak to the clients that I've seen, addressing childhood sexual abuse is probably the biggest one.
Mm.
Addressing childhood sexual abuse and how it is impacting the way they're showing up in the world, period. But typically in their relationships and dealing with their anger and yeah, that will probably be the biggest one.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
Me
Mm.
neither. That's not what I was expecting to hear, to
Me
be
either.
honest.
I wasn't.
Really?
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
about
no.
something else.
Oh
Yeah, me
yeah.
too.
Yeah, that ends up being the crux of a lot of the issues that I end up finding my clients have, especially when they have a lot of anger, or they have a hard time communicating how they feel or what's going on for them. It's like they're stuck mentally because when trauma, particularly sexual abuse, happens, we get stuck emotionally in whatever space we were in at the age at the age when the trauma happened. And
Right.
so, like, let's say if somebody is, they get upset with their partner and they throwing stuff, they punching walls and all this kind of stuff. It's like that's what kids do, right? But you're in a grown man's body or a grown woman's body, whatever the case might be. But yeah, we get stuck in that space emotionally, and we continue to act out that same role. Yeah, so usually they come in with like anger issues or relational difficulties, come to find out that there was some type of sexual abuse or some type of serious, flagrant trauma that happened to them in their childhood. So helping them work through that. And yeah, EMDR has proven to be the most effective form of therapy for me and working with my clients. Like I had a client who was working through some childhood sexual abuse and was really dealing with anger and having a difficult time, even with his kids being at the same age that he was when he was being violated. And when his kids got to that age, he was just, and this is common, right? He really started to go into a different headspace. His behavior, everything about him started to change. He was triggered very easily, but that's because the trauma was still there and it was unresolved. And so when we did EMDR, he was really able to move through those spaces that were stuck, which is essentially what trauma is our brain gets stuck in whatever memory we're in. That's why
Mm.
people end up having the triggers and they respond physically and emotionally in a way that is consistent with how they were when they were in the trauma at the time. So yeah, EMDR, which is a form of trauma therapy, has been the most effective in helping my clients move through
So
that.
in that field of work, like you probably got three people that probably don't know what the acronyms you just used. So you
Yeah,
might.
yeah,
I was about to ask. I was just about to
I,
be like,
yeah.
I,
I'm looking because I have my tappers here, but I'm not seeing them. I might have to run and grab them. But EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization reprocessing.
how if we don't go to therapy, do you suggest that people utilize the ACEs format to see their type of trauma?
No, no.
Do you think it's valuable to a person or to a client when you work with them?
I think it's valuable to a degree because I think people know if they have trauma, but looking at the ACE scoring sheet is not going to help you resolve the trauma. It's just going to validate the fact that you have trauma. Therapy is going to give you space to work through the trauma, right? Because what I find that a lot of people end up doing is they educate themselves about the problems that they have, but when they educate themselves about problems they have, it just makes it easier, or it equips them to be able to justify why they're showing up in the world in a way that don't work. Right. So it's like, yeah, you know, you got trauma, but let's reach out for some tools that are going to help you move past that space. So I think it's helpful, but I wouldn't just stay there.
You got a comment that says Stump Diddy said being in a certain environment and situations give them flashbacks and triggers them to go back to the same place.
Yeah.
And then you have another one. One person said, I agree with Beatrice concerning the childhood trauma. There are things that I didn't realize affected me as much as they did until I got older.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you have a question that says, what are some other non-pharmaceutical means to treat severe mental health? The speaker mentioned therapy. Are there other means?
Meditation is a great tool to help you connect with yourself, to help you ground yourself, especially when you have trauma triggers, or even if you're triggered for things that are not necessarily trauma related. So I think meditation would be a good tool. You know, I would also say for people that are dealing with anxiety that don't want to take over-the-counter medicine, prescription medicines, to try natural herbal medicines like ashwagandha. Ashwagandha, when I hear the name, I laugh every time because, you know, somebody black had to call that medicine ashwagandha. Who else came up with that? But anyway, ashwagandha is a natural herbal supplement that people can take to help them with anxiety or even stress, relieving stress in their bodies. It decreases the cortisol levels in your body, which we develop cortisol whenever we're under stress. But it also helps with anxiety. So, and every client that has taken it has had great results from using ashwagandha versus taking like a prescription medication for anxiety.
Yeah. One thing that I also I do that kind of helps is, for some people, I love music. So there's, you know, the study of sound and sound waves and all that. So certain sounds are at certain vibrations and hertz and all that that will affect your body in different ways. You know, some people, if you believe in it, cool. If not, you know, do the other ways. But for people who, you can look into it as well, for whoever's listening, about sound waves and vibrations and certain tones and sounds, how they affect your body.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
Yeah,
see somebody said
CBD.
something about CBD. Yep, CBD is a good alternative. A lot of people use that
Yeah,
for
definitely.
anxiety as well. I also know that
What's up,
some
Pops?
clients have found. I'm sorry, you said something, Marcel?
Oh no, so go ahead.
Okay. I know some clients have even found it helpful to do like it's called what is the name of it? It's non-dominant handwriting exercises. So like if people journal, if you already write or you do poetry, whatever, when you find yourself triggered or you feeling emotionally at a low place, or even if something makes you angry or sad, if you typically write with your left hand, if you typically write with your right hand, write with your left hand, and try to at first ask yourself, how are you feeling, what's going on for you, and write out the answer in your left hand. And people have found that helps them come to an awareness and tap into their subconscious, where they're able to get some answers from their younger selves, from their inner child, to help them understand what they need to do to take care of themselves in that moment.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, I heard about that before.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's called non-dominant handwriting. And this author, John Bradshaw, it's a book right here called Healing the Shame That Binds You. I'm a big reader. I got a stack of books right here just in case some come up that I can recommend to y'all. But Healing the Shame That Binds You by John Bradshaw is a great resource for anybody who has dealt with childhood trauma and who still, even as adults, deal with shame. And shame could be if somebody tells you did something wrong. It excites this feeling of like I'm not good enough, or making you feel like you have to overperform or overachieve just to prove yourself. I mean, it's so many layers to this stuff, but that's a good book, and he talks about non-dominant handwriting exercise as well.
Yes, sir. That is definitely a good one. And I see you, pops on here. I see you commenting.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh,
This
you
all
muted
new to me.
stuff.
I'm just like I'm taking it all in. So
We definitely appreciate everybody that's tuning in right now. Continue to keep
Definitely.
watching. We still got more to come.
for sure. So I was gonna ask if someone is reluctant to speak to a professional, do you advise that they speak to someone, or is it like, do you feel that just a regular person would do more damage than they would do good?
I think speaking to someone is better than no one at all. I think talking to somebody is better than no one at all, because I think when we talk to other people, it gives us a perspective of ourselves that we can't see, right? It's almost like if I put my finger in too close to this camera, it's going to get blurry, right? When you get too close to anything, it's hard to be able to see clearly. So just even talking to a family member or a friend about how you're feeling gives them space to be able to not try to fix the problem for you, but to listen. Like you can say, hey, I need to just talk, just to have some space to kind of talk. I don't need any advice or whatever the case might be, but just talking sometimes helps you come to the answers and the awareness that you need to do whatever you need to do or to work through a problem. Yeah.
You have a question that says, me personally, I've been to a lot of funerals and witnessed death at a young age. My question is, do you feel like funerals can be traumatic towards young men and women, especially in the Black community?
Can they be dramatic or traumatic?
Traumatic.
Traumatic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially if the deaths are hitting close to home, or depending on what's being said at the funerals. You know, some people just do not do death and dying and funerals very well. I mean, who does do them well? But some people are very sensitive to the nature and the content that comes up at funerals, especially if it was if the person passed in a violent way. It can be triggering. It can cause a feeling of not being safe and not at rest within yourself. So, I mean, I think it can cause that. Yeah.
Funerals for me is like, I believe that it creates a lot of trauma for me in general. My wife knows that if you talk about death and funerals, I think I don't want to go to nobody's funeral for real. The only person I think I really want to go to is if my mom passed away or something.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of death. I've seen a lot of friends killed in front of me. I've seen a lot of close people to me that's just been some fucked up situations. And every time I think about a funeral, it just goes back to what happened that day or what happened at that time. It's just not something that I like to really talk about, and it's not something that I like to engage in that much. So I do think I think it is trauma just real with that area. It's just like funeral, especially in the Black community, because I know that I forgot who I had a conversation with. It's that because you can see it with our kids now. The social media is so like toxic now. Our feelings is like immune, like we're filtered, like nothing really bother us as much. But as soon as I get to that funeral piece, like you can get all the emotion out of me like crazy. It's like certain things can really trigger me, regardless of how many times I see death on TV or social media. When it's reality, it's just like, damn. It's like it's just like I can't help it. Like, dang, my anxiety go up, palms get a little sweaty. It's just like thinking about death is like horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, especially with so much going on in the world right now. You know, it's like I think we all on edge. Like, man, nobody wants to die. You know, not a tragic death. You know what I'm saying? Like, can we just die from natural causes these days? It seems like that is just not the way things are happening
at all.
Mm-hmm.
At all. So I got a question.
Okay.
For Black men who are not the best communicators, do you have any advice or any type of exercises or things they can do to strengthen that muscle?
And if you don't mind me, Jeremy, let me add to that.
Okay.
So in season 1, Jeremy stated that
Oh shit.
do you have to, yeah, I gotta quote it. Do you have to be angry to be closed off? So I want to add to that piece. Is that correct? What you said in season 1?
It is.
Don't worry, I quoted it.
You said the last part was, do you have to be angry to be closed off?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a 2-part piece for him, for Jeremy.
Okay. So let me answer that first question. Tips that men can do if they have trouble communicating.
Mhm.
I say write it out. That's the first thing. Get your thoughts together on paper. Write it out, bulletproof. But you can bullet point it, or you can talk it out with somebody else first, right? Just kind of get your thoughts together that way. The
Could
other
it be
thing,
like Bumblebee?
huh?
Could he be like Bumblebee, where he can do it through his radio because he's a DJ, so he can just scratch words out and then he can say his feelings through the words while he's scratching?
I guess so. That would be creative.
I feel like this.
That would be creative.
Look at Jeremy, yeah.
But yeah, writing it out tends to help big time. Like with my clients, especially when they got issues at home with their wives, they be like, man, if I start talking, I already know she gonna overtalk me, or she's gonna talk circles around me, because when we be having our thoughts together, we already know what it is. So it's like I tell my male clients, write it out first. Write her a letter. You don't have to worry about having conversation with her face to face, in live and in the moment. Write out how you feel. Express your feelings on paper. That way, it gives you some time and space to really feel heard. Especially if you're with somebody that is very on point, can express themselves very clearly, and that might intimidate you. So that's why I would say writing it out, talking it through with somebody else before you have the conversation.
Okay.
And then the other piece, do you have to be angry to be shut off, right?
Mhm.
To be closed off, yeah.
To be closed off. No, absolutely not. There's this book called Creative Aggression. It's a really, really old book. I think it's by John Powell, maybe. But anyway, no. If somebody can be super nice, smiling in your face, right? Always have a great attitude and be willing to help anybody with anything, and be super shut down and closed off from themselves and from other people. So I don't think anger is just, I think some of the nicest people, especially ones that just go above and beyond, they have the most, sometimes they can struggle with having the most anger, and then just mask it with being nice or being friendly. So yeah, and then they're shut off from themselves because they're not really in tune with what's really going on for them. It's almost like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? You one way on the outside, but internally it's something entirely different. Yeah, so.
That sounds familiar.
Who it sound like?
Stump.
Facts.
Yeah, so. Yeah.
We
I
said
hope
kill
I'm
him with
answering these
kindness.
questions.
Huh?
Am I answering these questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Oh yeah,
Definitely.
definitely. Yes,
My
you are.
phone is going, so you good. So if you
Okay.
see me looking down, that means it's just, it's going. A
Yeah,
lot. You got a lot of people watching. Antonio and I will write 10 things. So Hurt and his father will write 10 things down when they were mad at each other and then talk about it. What?
Oh, that's huge. Oh no,
Antonio Hurt.
me and my
Big
pops
Hurt.
could never.
Oh.
Oh no. That's
Hey
great.
man, that was
That's awesome.
yeah.
I'm just shocked that
Me and my
Hurt,
pops, we what?
I ain't know you getting your feelings, man. And so next time you mad at me, I want you to write 10 things down, and I'm gonna write 10 things down,
No,
and we gonna
I don't
talk this
write.
thing out.
I don't write 10 things down with you because I know you.
No, write them
'Cause
down, and I'm
you not
what?
that kind of person.
You damn right. I ain't about to write shit down with you.
I
Like
know
I'm
you're not.
gonna
That's
say
why
fuck you, and I'm gonna hang
exactly,
up.
exactly.
Oh,
That's
he
why.
definitely gonna hang up for sure.
That's why
I'll call you when I cool
when I
down.
have something to say at Marcel, I just call him because I know that's what he wants.
And when you call, I'll be like, God damn.
Yep, I already know.
But so I know in season 1 we talked about how parents play a role. I'm glad that your father chimed in on that. That was one of the things I was going to pull, and we talked about how upbringing can affect you. Like Al discussed how his father was, in ministry, and they would, teach him to be that alpha male, and I had more of like I had two fathers. One dad that's more like I didn't learn much of the emotion side, but then I had a stepdad that was more like we could talk it out. But it was kind of like growing up was kind of like fuck both of them because I was confused. Do you think that plays, key roles within the Black households when you have like the single mother trying to play mother and father, and then the father come in the picture and then not, and then vice versa? Like you got the mom that might be doing something, and the dad. Like, how does that play? How as Black men, how are we negatively affected with how our upbringing is? Like generational curses, uh, all of it. You've been in the field, so you know where I'm going with it.
Yeah, I'm following you. I'm following you. Yeah. Oh man. Dang, Marcel, how much time y'all got? No, I'm just playing.
Oh, we good till about step. I think Hurt. It's down in Houston, so Hurt got about till 8 o'clock tonight.
Now, so how are Black men impacted by their upbringings, particularly like when there's a single parent household, when the mom is the primary parent? Oh, I think that there's a hard learning curve that happens there, especially when after the fact a man comes into the picture, right? Because the dynamics of a household have been off balance in a sense, and I say off balance because households were not meant to be that way. It was meant to have two individuals, two people raising children. And so when another person comes in, it's particularly if it's a man that comes in, his energy is going to shift the family dynamic a little bit, and it's going to collide to some degree with the young boy that's in the house, particularly depending on how old he is by the time the man comes in. But I think that there's just a curve that happens there, a learning curve that does require emotionally mature parents, adults, to help the young person through that stage and have grace for them as they're going through that stage. So I don't think that's unique to Black people. I think that's just a part of us being human, right? When we're growing up in a household where there's only one parent and then the dynamics shift when somebody else comes in. I think that it can still be on the inverse if you're growing up with your dad as a primary person, then a woman come in, right? Depending on what her energy is, that may shift things in the house for the son and the daughter if they're in the home. I think as it relates to generational curses, I think at this point in our culture and the things that we've looked at, we can see and we can trace back all the way to slavery uh, how slavery has impacted our family system, how social welfare policies have impacted our family system and our communities. All of these things were strategically put into place to keep the Black man out of the household. And so we are still seeing these patterns now. I remember having a conversation with one of my white coworkers back when I was in Houston, and she told me we were talking about the differences that white women have, the problems that they have with their men versus the problems that Black women have with their men, with Black men. And she said white men are going to take care of their families, they're going to go to work, they're going to do things they need to do, but they're going to do all that and probably use drugs, and they're going to have some type of addiction. It may not be a drug addiction, but it might be a porn addiction, it might be a gaming addiction, it's going to be something. Or they're going to have a whole family on the side, but they're going to take care of them too, right? So it's like their issues, it's like, you don't see as much brokenness in terms of dads not being in the home in white families. It's not as much of a glaring issue, but they have their own set of issues, too, which it seemed like just having this conversation with her was addiction, or even the man having having a family on the side and taking care of two different households. So yeah, I feel like I said a lot, and yeah, y'all following me on that one?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah,
We following. We definitely following.
You want to
Y'all
read
got
Stump's
any
comment?
questions?
No, you want to read Stump's comment real quick?
Yeah. Stump stated that, believe it or not, with me not having my father completely in my life because of incarceration, it helped him become a better man for himself and for his mother.
mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's making lemonade out of lemons. Yeah,
So
yeah. Resilient.
let's talk about support.
Yeah.
How do black men support emotionally black men? Like, we it seemed like growing up in the hood, it seemed like everything is about a competition with one another. And we feel like we always in battle with each other. Even when we walk down the street, it's like, what size shoe this nigga got on? Can I get that? Like, and I don't think it's a sense of jealousy. Maybe it's more a sense of insecurities, maybe, of us and how we our upbringing. Like, we got to have a new fashion, got to have a new shoe. Do you think how do we emotionally support each other more than we do degrade each other?
Mm. I think it starts I think it starts at the individual level with each person. Like, let's say, like with you, Marcel, I know that you are real big into just empowering other men, being open, being transparent. That type of stuff right there lends space for other men to be willing to even consider being open,
No,
right?
I ain't open. Forget them.
You get what I'm saying, Marcel. You would talk openly and honestly about your personal struggles, things that are going on in your family. Like, you tend to be an open book. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
I think it lends space for other people to be willing to open up as well and be transparent and not try to act like things are one way when it's not, and address the internal stuff that is going on. Like, man, I'm stressed, or I'm not even sleeping. Like, this is what's going on, right? I think being open and honest with yourself first, and I think naturally that translates to creating space for other people to do the same, to feel safe with you, right? Not being a gossip, or being somebody that's super critical or try to fix other people, but being willing to listen to where dude coming from. Because a lot of times, honestly, it seems like men they don't feel like they're heard, or when they heard, they feel like somebody try to fix them, or if somebody not trying to fix them, then they feel like they seen as weak if they start talking about what's really going on for them. So that's where I would say to start is just at the individual level, be the person you want somebody to be for you.
Now, do you think someone can take that too far, in the sense of they worry more about being around for other people than taking care of themselves?
Absolutely, absolutely. Which is kind of a vein that I'm in right now, particularly with black men. And do y'all know what codependency is? Y'all familiar with that?
Sounds familiar, but
A
go
little
ahead.
bit. Yeah, go ahead and
Okay,
yeah.
so codependency, there's no particular definition. Like, if you Google codependency right now, you're probably gonna find like 4, 5, 6, 7 different definitions of codependency. Codependency is a term that therapists have used to help us understand behavioral patterns of people. So typically when someone is codependent, they tend to be overly responsible for other people. They tend to lack boundaries and overshare, right? They tend to play the victim role. They feel like victims. Um, Codependents also find themselves in relationships with people that reject them or abandon them or abuse them, right? That can vary on many levels. A lot of my clients that I see, most of my clients are women, and many of them are codependent. But I'm just like, I know just black women or even white women are not codependent. I know black men have codependent traits as well. So I think that there is a boundary, there is a line where we start to be overly responsible for other people, where it starts impacting our own well-being, our ability to take care of ourselves. We're so consumed in other folk problems. It's not healthy. It's not healthy with boundaries. It's not healthy for our emotional health or even for our families. Yeah.
Black men being in a committed relationship with two women.
I think if you can find two women that's okay with that, figure out how to make that one work. You know, I think
Y'all listening, ladies? Y'all listen. Ladies.
I think your struggle might be is finding two women that are okay with that. You know, now, yeah, that one might be tough because here's the other piece of that. Because a lot of times men be thinking, y'all start off in these relationships, and women we be telling y'all one thing, okay, but after a while that's gonna get old. That unless she is really committed to that life and wanting to share her man or even maybe share the woman. I don't know what y'all might have going, but typically women are going to get territorial about her dude, and it's only going to be so long before that's going to work and you start having all types of issues. So I think if you can find two women who are really down for that and who really have the capacity and the will to make that work, I that's what I say. Do what you do.
Ladies. Swing Jeremy's way, the beard. He's waiting.
I got enough.
We got another one. Yes, transparency is key. When I tell my story, I get a lot more out of people when trying to help them because they know I'm not just talking to be talking or because I think I'm better than anyone. Yeah. And that one, I agree. Like working in my field right now, we work with predominantly African American. Actually, I think in a lot of social services field and agencies, you deal with predominantly, African American. And you don't in this field of work, you don't have a lot of African American males. So it's kind of like all the people that they've seen before you don't look like me. But then you see me, I'm young and I'm a black male. What do you have to offer? But I don't, tell them my whole story. I'm not gonna tell them my life story because they don't need to know all that. But I give them enough to be transparent with the young black male so that they can feel like, man, I can get somewhere. Once they know like at least a piece of my story, it gives them that confidence and then it builds that relationship to make them trust another black man. So I think what Trey is saying right there is key. Like with relationships between black men and support, transparency is very important for us to have.
Yeah.
Unless they want to act a fool, then you be like, fuck them.
I learned a lot. I'm gonna say that.
Good.
I'm gonna say that. I don't know how much I'm gonna use, but I learned a lot.
Why wouldn't you use some of what you learned?
I don't got time for all of that.
What you mean? What don't you have time for?
Feelings. All of them.
In my feelings.
Here,
Talk about it, bruh. We here.
Let me share this with you. Feelings are always gonna be there, and that's just the truth of the matter. Your feelings are always gonna be there, and if you don't deal with your feelings, your body is gonna tell you that you that you hadn't dealt with it. Our body. There's a book that calls Our Body Keeps the Score. And that book is really talking about the impact of trauma and how it gets stored in our body. And regardless if we want to or not, especially when we're dealing with anger, feelings of anger or grief or depression, we start feeling our body. All of them knots that folks be having in their back and their lower back problems. Black men have all type of lower back problems, hip problems. I think that's a lot of repressed feelings that have been stored in the body that need to be worked out.
So. Stump, I ain't afraid of heartbreak. I'd have had too many. That ain't a fear of mine. That ain't a fear. But I definitely get what you're saying. I hear you.
Yeah. Okay. It's not that scary, I promise.
All right. I'm gonna leave it there.
They say that asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but as we all know, a lot of men, especially in our community, we feel like we have to be alpha males at all times. And I'm not gonna lie, I am a strong believer in being an alpha male, dominant man of my household and just in general. And I can't say that I learned that from my stepdad. I can't say I learned that from my dad. I feel like that's just uh I won't say it's nurture, it's nature, it's more nature in my nature to do that because I feel like I need to always protect myself, protect my children. And I think it may stems back for maybe I can't speak for all black men, but it's probably a lot just to avoid like Stump saying from being hurt. I do think that may be a key piece. Jeremy may not admit it, it may not be the case, but we might be just that might be our wall as black men to say, no, I gotta be strong for my wife, I gotta be strong for my girlfriend, or I gotta be strong for my mom. My mom took care of me. Now I gotta take care of my mom. Ain't no crying. Like at some point though, we have to, even for me, we have to sit down and really say, like, I think I read something that says strength still needs support. I think I read that somewhere, but it made sense to me. Like, I could be the strongest person in the world, but you still need support. So I know for me, like, I got a group of guys, which they all in the comments on here that I know I can go to them. If I need to cry, I'm gonna go to them because I know sometimes I just can't be strong. But when they first met me 7 years ago, I probably would have been like, hey, just square up outside and let's just box. Like, fuck it. Like, I'm mad. And I think that just comes with growth and maturity as well.
Yeah.
Oops, my bad. Is there any science that connects mental health genetics? I asked to know if mental health problems can be passed down to children. Woo!
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Mental illness it is linked to our genetics. Yeah, mental illness, even addiction mental illness and addiction are family diseases. Yeah. So they can be passed on to children. I think it's important whenever we have children that if we know that we have a history of mental illness, we have a family history of addiction, substance abuse, that we let our kids know so that they can be aware of what they are genetically predisposed to, right? Especially when it comes to addiction. Like if people don't know that their daddy or their granddaddy was an alcoholic and they start drinking and all of a sudden they just, they fast and furious into a full-blown alcoholism. It's like, I've had clients be like, why my mama didn't tell me? I would have never picked up a drink. Right? Like, yeah, so most definitely it is a family disease. Yeah.
There was a question that was asked: who does the protector go to when they're not shopping well?
I feel like that's autocorrect for doing, but
not doing well.
that's just my interpretation.
Hey, look, I'm like, hey, they not shopping well. They just not shopping well. So like,
yeah,
Go to Walmart.
When the protector is not doing well, I think that they go to their support system, right? Kind of like what Marcel was saying, like he has people he can go to when he needs to cry, when he needs to really be able to let out some stuff, or even if he needs to just be angry. But I think that it's important for men, also women, but especially for men, being in the position that you're in as leaders, as caregivers, as caretakers, as providers, that you have a relationship with God. Right? I don't really particularly, it don't matter what your faith preference is, but believing in something higher than yourself that you can tap into and draw some strength and get that be your sense of your source of strength and power. Because you're only human. It's only so far you're going to be able to go. You know what I'm saying? So having something that is steady, that's consistent, that is a foundation for you is important, which is why I think meditation, prayer, some type of spiritual practice is important for everybody to have. But I think it's something strong about a man that has a relationship with God, that has a spiritual practice, that has something that grounds him, and that is a form of a moral compass for him. So, yeah.
Deep
facts. See, I was right. I know my
earlier show, but I waited. But definitely, your faith is very, very, very important.
Yeah.
Okay.
What the? Oh,
I see you, Miss Rivers.
yeah, she be on it.
I see. I,
Okay.
So,
I know that like I said, I follow a lot of podcasts and people, and I've seen many men who spoke on the topic of therapy. Especially the number one guy, that's the most famous, I would say, that I follow, Charlemagne the God, and he speaks on his therapy like every week, literally, and how he hugs trees and all that. But definitely therapy, yeah, that kills me. Oh, where you know what? Actually, and go ahead, put Mr. Dunbar's. Um, yeah, definitely. You can go ahead and answer that first. Where
they
can
want
they
to know
follow
where can
you?
they follow you.
Where can they follow me? Oh, they can follow me on my Instagram. It's Unoia Therapy SD. It's right here, I think. Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah,
EUNOIA Therapy. S as in Sam, D as in dog. Yep, that's my
right.
handle for Instagram and Facebook.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and everybody who's watching, it's in the description of the live video on Facebook, YouTube, and on our Instagram post with the flyer. So that her tag is definitely in all of that as well.
You never know. We might be able to pull her on a new Millennial Network, for her
On
own
the
show. You
NMC
never know.
there you
Network.
go. There you
Just
go.
throwing it out there. She got the
The-
following for her right now. You never know.
That's what's up.
Definitely appreciate everything you said today. And the stigma of I know Marcel mentioned it, the stigma of us having to be strong and having to, uh, traditionally, you have to be a certain way. And times have changed, things have changed, roles have changed. And sometimes we have to look at things a certain way and in a different way.
Yeah, most definitely. Most
Let's see,
definitely.
we got
I
any
appreciate
more
y'all having
questions?
me.
I've been looking.
The
Let's
only
see if
thing
we
I
got any more
forgot to mention
questions.
tonight is that they said the third largest leading cause of death for African American males is suicide.
Yeah.
Age 15 to 24. And I didn't know that until today.
Yeah, it's crazy,
Yeah,
right? When you
that's
think
huge.
about it. And what would y'all say is the leading cause of suicide?
Stress, depression.
It's hopelessness.
Mm,
Shit. Hey,
okay.
hey, I feel that all the way 100. Like
Yeah.
the shit that we like between talking to her and Jeremy and just like everybody just like the shit we go through just to make it, the shit we go through just to buy a house, shit you got to go through just to buy a car,
To
shit you got
start
to
a
go
business.
through just to take care of a kid. Like, god damn, like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Hopelessness. Yep.
Yeah, it's
It's
a lot.
crazy.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is that a sign of weakness? Suicide? I know some people be like, if you're gonna do suicide, kill yourself. Fuck it, do it. There's a lot of people that say do it. They think that's a weakness. They say that's being selfish when you commit suicide.
You know what?
Yeah.
That one is that's a sticky question for me. That's a real sticky question. But I personally, man, I think that I think it's two sides to that coin for me. On one end, it's like if you gonna kill yourself, you gotta be at your wits end. You know what I'm saying?
So I
Like
just said,
like there's and then when men kill themselves, y'all kill yourselves by with fatally. Like y'all will shoot
Yeah,
yourselves.
we make sure.
I mean, I remember I do hospital when I was working in the hospital doing psych work, being a psych hospital social worker. I remember this dude shot himself in the face. I mean, it was like Scarface. It was just hanging off. And I can't even believe I didn't pass out. But Yeah, so I don't see that as a weakness, no, because like if you are successful, like you were for real about what you said. But on the other end, I do have sentiments where I do feel like it's like, dang, like there was nothing else that can be done. Like the family, all of the ramifications that come from that decision is just so. Being a therapist and even as a social worker, seeing the impact of suicide on a community, on a family, it is devastating. But it doesn't take away from the pain or the hurt that that person was dealing with that led them to that choice. So that's why I say it's a
Yeah.
two-sided coin for me. Yeah.
Well, y'all
Some
know that's
said it takes a strong person to take their own life.
y'all know that's a sensitive subject for me because that's how I lost my brother. So
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
All right, so let's leave it on a good note then. Can you give us 5 ways that we can cope?
Okay.
Here we go.
Five ways to cope. So let's make it relevant to the fact that we are in the middle of a pandemic. Some of us are dealing with winter freezes and all this kind of stuff. So if you're in a situation like that, to cope, I would say try to get some fresh air. I know that it's cold outside, but getting some fresh air does help us reground ourselves. Even if you can get outside and just be in nature in some kind of way, I think is usually helpful for us to feel connected with something greater than ourselves. So that would be the first thing. The second thing I would say is to be hydrated, drink plenty of water, take care of your body, give your body what it needs. The third thing that I would say is to try to do some type of physical activity. And that can just be walking, that can be exercising, that can be doing lifting weights, whatever that might be, but keeping your body active because we are so sedentary right now. I know that people are probably tired of hearing workout, but it's important. We want our bodies to be functioning at the end of this pandemic, right? Like, so it's like drink plenty of water, try to keep your body active and moving. The other thing that I would say is to talk to people because we're getting used to being alone and isolated and being in our phones and just being disconnected in general. So being purposeful about connecting with other people, and being creative about meeting new people too. If you are isolated and living alone, I think that's four. The last thing that I would say is to pray. To pray. Prayer is a great way of practicing an active surrender. And I say that, people can practice prayer no matter what your faith is or even what your spiritual practice is. Praying is a form of surrendering and acknowledging that there is just some things in this life that are outside of your control. And a lot of us tend to get overreactive, or even we start to burn ourselves out with work in an attempt to try to feel like we're in control or that our lives are still moving forward. But the reality of it is that there's just some things that are going to move slower than what they typically would have because of the circumstances. So pray the serenity prayer. That's a short, simple prayer. It says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good prayer that you can meditate on to help you understand what can I change and what can I change. And then, are those things accurate, right? Is help me to understand what the difference is between those things. So yeah, those are the tips I would share.
I
All
wrote them
right.
down.
Thank
Definitely
you.
gonna post them on our social media page.
Okay.
Yes, sir. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you again.
Thank
Definitely
y'all.
helpful.
Thank you
We got
for
a lot of
sure.
comments, a lot of interaction.
Yeah.
People definitely have accepted the information that you've given today. We appreciate it.
Awesome.
See, there we go. Another comment. Yeah,
Okay.
good one.
I
Also,
like that
Ooh,
last
yeah.
name.
thank you for yeah, that Bombay. That's
I like that last
amazing.
name. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also another unhealthy way to cope. But
I wouldn't say it's unhealthy. If you
but
if
you
you
need
practice in
if
moderation.
you do it the right way, yeah.
Everything in
Drink
moderation.
responsibly. Exactly.
Exactly.
Hey, Hey, number 6, you get you a bottle of Jack.
I do not second that. I do not second
He said number 6 is Jack. Number 7 is Bombay.
Number 6 is get you some gin and tonic.
Thank you.
No tonic. Hold the tonic.
We a bad influence on her life right now.
We need the tonic right now. That helps.
We gotta rewind. We gotta bring this back.
Fight against COVID. But definitely got a lot of good tips today.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody is definitely being aware of their mental health, especially during this pandemic. And now with these winter storms, I'm just blessed to be on here today. We didn't have electricity and water since Sunday, basically. So it's been a week.
It's on the screen, bro.
Uh-oh. Let me see. All right, so we're gonna say thank you for everybody. Make sure y'all go follow our guest as well. Like I said, her IG tag is in her IG tag is in the description. Make sure y'all do that. Make sure y'all follow our page as well at New Millennium Culture, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and then our Twitter is at Millennial New. Make sure y'all go follow that as well. We make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button on YouTube, all that, so y'all can know. He said 2 times. Make sure y'all know when we drop something else. We'll have some clips for y'all tomorrow. We'll have the audio for y'all tomorrow as well on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the great audio podcast platforms out there. So if y'all missed some of it today, don't worry. Y'all can watch the replay on Facebook, watch it on YouTube, and if you just want to listen to it, download the audio tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, so you know how we got to end the show.
We're going to say
you know how we got to end the show.
First and foremost, again, shout out to my Boondocks do-rag. I don't know if y'all can see that, but I had to go ahead and make sure y'all knew that. With that, Hurt, drop the beat.
Thank you to all our listeners. Make sure you check out our social media platforms and our website. Follow, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with us. Please send us questions or topics that you would like to hear discussed. We'll see you next week. Peace.